everyone. Welcome to another beautiful podcast today on Parents and Children Interactive section. And today we are here with another beautiful topic that says, should parents be allowed to impose a choice of career on their children? Should parents choose careers for their children, or should the children be allowed to take up, select, determine the career that they want to pursue in life? And definitely the world is evolving, a lot of things are happening, and I'll be sharing personal experiences, my discussion with people, and some of the things that I think I have seen, learned, and unlearned about this very particular topic. Okay, personally, I'm a professional accountant, and by the grace of God, I did my professional accounting programs, and so I'm a chartered accountant by profession. But currently, I'm not practicing accounting. So I would like to share a brief story on how I ended up being a chartered accountant, and then we kick off from there. I remembered when I was very young, there was this calendar in our sitting room. I think someone gave us the calendar, and right in that calendar were pictures of children. Each month had the picture of a little child wearing a career costume. There was a picture of a beautiful young girl that was a lawyer. We had pilots, we had accountants, different kinds of career. And the calendar was very colorful and beautiful. And right there in the sitting room, I would always go there with my younger ones to check the calendar, and from there we began to admire the pictures and everything. And from there I saw this beautiful young female accountant. And I remember then my dad worked with the then National Bank, and he was the accountant then in National Bank. So I asked him some questions, and he told me that yes, he's an accountant, and for you to become an accountant, you have to study accounting. So I said, oh, I would like to take after my dad, and then I would like to be a female accountant. So as little as I was in primary school, I began to tell people that I want to be an accountant. I remember my younger sister did same, saw a beautiful lawyer and said, oh, I would like to be a lawyer. And you know, before you know it, I grew up with this. And that was how I got passionate about being an accountant. And then I stick to it. But then growing up, a lot of things have propped up. I've seen a lot of things. I've had a lot of things. I've checked through some of the experiences I've had, gone through my life. And if I had my way, I always ask myself this question. If I actually had my way to turn back the hands of time, was there any other course I would have considered? So now coming down to the topic we want to discuss. Parents have, in one way or the other, also influence the choice of career that their children have made. And now I want to go deep into this topic and see how much should children influence their children's choice of career. Is it good at all? Is it right? What should be done? What should be the boundaries? What should be the extreme for assisting children to pick a career? So let me start by saying our definition of career nowadays, I think, is quite different from the definition of career we had during our parents' time. I mean, I'm talking about myself. I'm actually talking about myself. You know, those days, our parents believed that career was something tied to basically some kind of white-collar professional jobs, like doctors, nurses, teachers. Even teacher was not so highly a kind of encouraged. So you have courses like engineers, and then if you mention any career outside this white collar, these professional courses, then you will find a kind of backlash. You see people saying, oh no, it's not your portion, I don't want my child to be this and that. And then parents actually had a lot of influence over their children and all that. And then growing up, that's why the difference between our time and now is so wide. So now when you are talking about career, the world is more advanced, people are more exposed, and we have come to discover that there are a lot of things out there that people do, and these have formed their career, and these have formed the things that they do daily do. So when you talk about a career is just a part of life, or is something you take up and then you put your passion into it to learn, and then after learning you begin to practicalize what you have learned. And while practicalizing it, you are impacting both yourself and the environment you find yourself. So career could just be write about anything. Nowadays, businesses are also careers. We have entrepreneurs, we have sole traders, we have merchant dealers, we have importers, we have people who are into exporting, we have people who deal on other services. We have hairstylists, we have a lot of things are now being taken up as career. The other day I saw someone wrote, is it nail technologist or so, as a career? And I was like, which one is nail technologist, you know? And then, so we beauticians, we have a whole lot now outside the normal ones we know. And the problem now is children now have a wide range of things to pick from, but I think the knowledge of some of these things are so limited. So not going outside our topic, should parents be involved in the choice of career? I ask once again. For me, I believe parents should be involved in the advisory aspect of choosing a career. And why should parents be involved in the advisory aspect of choosing a career? When you give birth to a child, you have stayed with a child, and most times you know the weak points, you know the strengths, you know the ability, you know the likes and dislikes of your children. And then from there, you could, one way or the other, determine what they are good at. And sometimes children don't just pick up career, just like I told you my story. I didn't just pick up my career because I saw that I was good in a particular subject or so. No, I just saw something attractive. I saw a beautiful young girl in a calendar, clothed as an accountant, and then I just said, oh, boom, I want to be an accountant. So the question should have been, are you good in the courses that an accountant is expected to study? Are you good at are you passionate about the duties expected of an accountant? Is this something you want to do for a living? Is this something you can do for free? Because your choice of career should, I think one of the good ways to choose career is having to check if you can do those things for free. I tell people, if you want to choose a career, I think the very first thing to consider is your passion. Is your passion for your career, for the career you are trying to choose. So parents have an idea of all these things. And I think that advisory aspect where they can say, oh, I know you are good at this, I know you can do this, I know you should be able to do this, should also come in, where they get to advise, encourage, and there from there, the child is allowed to make a choice. So when you say, should parents be involved in the choice of career, I will tell you yes, because just like I just said, they have some deeper knowledge of their children, and they can tell you where their children's strengths and weaknesses lies. So in that aspect, they can give advices. But are they to impose a choice of career? The answer is simply no. Most times, as children grow up, or as people grow up, they tend to change their passion, they tend to change the things that they have flair for, the things they love, and the things that they don't love. And one of the things I would like us to also note is that our environment has a lot to do with choosing career. The exposure of a child has a lot to do in what the child desires per time. So as you grow, you tend to pick your passion, or you tend to create passion from the things that appeal to you, from the things that you see in your environment. So I give you an example. I remember a few years ago, I went for an outreach in a primary school in a remote area. So when I got there, it was a beautiful time with the children, and it was so amazing. And then after everything, I told the children, I began to ask them, okay, what would you love to do in future? I think that class is, an elementary class 4. That's what we call primary 4 here in Nigeria. And so I asked them one after the other. One thing amazed me. There was this particular thing that caught my interest. All of them wanted to be traders, wanted to be drivers, wanted to be mechanics, wanted to be fashion designer. And then one of the young students in that class, a very small boy, told me that he wants to be a POS person. And I was like, POS, you mean this point of sales, this POS that people do, or cash services that people do. I said, really? And then, you know, I wanted to laugh and all that, but I got so touched. And then I began to reason and just imagine why the children had made such choices. Then it boiled down to the fact that these are the things that they see in their environment. And these are the things they considered success. Those are the things they were exposed to. They saw the fashion designers around them. They felt, oh, this is the maximum limit of success. This person is doing well. And this, you know, these are respectable personnel or people around them. And then they tied their passion. They began passionate. I think I remembered one saying he wants to be a vigilante, something like that. You know, these are things they find around them. And this same set of children, if you pick them up and take them to a different environment entirely, where they get exposed maybe to technology, to life in urban areas and all that thing, you will find out that immediately their passion, their choice of career begins to change. So when you are talking about the involvement of parents, it's not just about parents. You are looking at both the children and the parents. So for this set of children that I just cited as an example, they are also from homes. And probably their parents have taken up one or two of this profession that they are eagerly looking up to take up also. And they see it as the peak of success. So that's where knowledge, adequate knowledge should be passed across. It's very important. That's where we come in with the importance of passing adequate knowledge about career choices, what should be done, both in the environment, both in the home, and both in the life of the children. What do we do? So parents are not expected to impose. Parents are not expected to dictate. I just cited examples of children from rural areas, from poor backgrounds and all that. And then there is this other set of children that come from very wealthy homes. Children where their parents are already doing well. They built a legacy for themselves and they expect the children to carry on the family legacy. So you find things like imposing careers as things that is so common in such homes. You find the father saying, oh, I built an hospital, and because I built an hospital, I need a child that will take up this when I'm gone. And then they want to impose medical, they want to impose it on their child to come be a medical doctor. And you hear them say, you must read medicine, you must read nursing, you must be an engineer, not because of the interest they have in the child, probably because of their own personal interest, trying to keep the legacy they have built alive and feeling that the only person that could take it up properly should be their children. So you can see the two extremes. One is suffering from lack of knowledge. One is suffering from ignorance. The other one is suffering from the fact that someone somewhere selfishly wants their legacy to continue, or for reasons best known to them, maybe out of competition and all that, and then they are trying to impose. So when you look at it randomly, when we look at it in a nutshell, parents can give advice, but they are not to impose a choice of career. So as children grow, we should allow them to discover themselves and make their own choices. Sometimes the things that we feel we know about them or the things that we see them exhibit could gradually change. They might definitely be picking interest because of the environment they found themselves. So when they move to another environment, or as they evolve, as they grow, they begin to find their real selves and begin to find out where best they would have fit in. So gradually, as I grew, I began to find my path to, oh, do I really still want to be an accountant? Yes. But would I have made a better choice? Yes. Would I have done it in a better way? Yes. Would I have followed another route rather than the one I took? Oh, yes. And these are things that children on their own develop or begin to understand as they grow. So, but when you are already tracked in, oh, I want to be and sometimes out of the fear of disappointing the people that love you or the people you feel care about you, children have gone ahead to do some things that they are not expected to do. I give you an example. I have a relative that read geoformatics and surveying, and she did very well. She passed very well. Why? Her dad was a surveyor, and he wanted one of his children to be a surveyor, and he encouraged her, you can be a surveyor. And then she got admitted for the course. He supported her so greatly, and she graduated in flying colors. But there's someone that was passionate about nursing. She went back to study nursing, and it's been amazing. She's right back on what she has passionately wanted to do. So it's very important to a kind of allow children to discover themselves and then go for what they want to go for. And one other thing is, sometimes a child could tell you, oh, I want to be a pilot, or I want to be an engineer. And then you start encouraging the child, you've started giving moral support and all that. And along the line, the child comes back again to say, oh, I've started this, but I don't think I can do it. I think I should try hands on something better. One of the gifts that we can give to children or to anyone around us is to still encourage them. And that means they are rediscovering themselves. We should encourage them, talk with them, just be sure that they really know what they are doing, and give them that support again. So once again, we're still going to dig more into this topic, but we're just laying the foundation. And I would also like to hear your opinion, your view about this. Should parents be fully involved in selecting, making choice of careers for their children, or should the children be left alone to make their own choice of career? What should be the boundary? What should we expect? And all that. And also remember that I said we should note that the environment of a child, the exposure of a child, the age, the mindset at that particular time, so many factors affects children's choice of career. So sometimes at some several ages, when they begin to tell you, I want to be this, I want to be that, you don't have to take them so seriously, even though you should be very alert, watch out for them, get to talk to them to know if they really know what they want to do. But also have it at the back of your mind that as they evolve, as they grow, things might change. They might come up with new ideas, new choices, and then we still have to support them. And also as parents, we don't impose. We should just advise, we should talk to them and hear from them, pray for them, give advices where necessary, but not to impose. I hope that we have gotten to learn one or two things, and I would really like to hear from each and every one. If you ever come across this video, please do well to drop your own personal opinion. I would like to read from you, and when next I'm back on this podcast, it will definitely still be on this topic, probably discussing it with someone else to hear their own opinion. And also we'll still go around and gather different opinions from people, and we'll get to know more, learn more together about choice of career and what should be the role of every parent. Thank you once again, and God bless you. See you next time. Bye.